Hi friends, in this video we will discuss about the interview experience for the role of software developer in PayTM. And this interview is mainly focused on the role for team lead or senior software engineer, right? So let's begin the discussion. So about the company details, as I always provide you before starting the questions, the company is located in Noida, and you can go down to sector 15 in Noida and then take maybe rickshaw or some cab, right? And one interesting thing about Paytm is you will get the chance to inhale all words kind of air pollution when you will visit the Noida office of Paytm. So my first suggestion is to you is take a mask with you before you are visiting the Paytm office. So this interview mainly covers about the Paytm Mall work. So as you are aware about that the fact that Paytm is having mainly two businesses. One is payments and other one is Paytm Mall, on which they are extremely focusing on these days. So this interview was conducted by the Paytm Mall team, and it was for the role of backend engineer. And their backend is made in Node.js, right? Even the front end and back end both are in Node.js, and they want to switch to some other technologies. That's why they are hiring a lot of people these days. So future work includes scalability issues and switching to some other technologies, maybe Java, right? And they are focusing on moving to Java and using NoSQL and queuing mechanism also. So let's quickly begin with the questions. So there were mainly three rounds, and first round was taken by EM. EM is engineering manager, and let's begin the questions. So before I introduce you to the questions, one thing you should know about Paytm is if you are going for the interview is you should be able to write complete code, complete working code. So even if you are writing very good pseudo code or perfect algorithm, it won't work for them. They want you to write complete working code in preferably Java language, right? So let's begin the questions. So the first question that the interview asked me was very simple. It was related to binary search, and as I just told you, they want me to write complete working code. So they have provided something like sorted array like this, and then they asked me to find some number inside this array. So the array was sorted, right, as I just told you, and let's say you need to find 9. Then you need to write some code, something like binary search, and do mention the return type also. They are focusing on even small things on this also, and then int array, something like this. So this is your function, and you need to write the code inside it. Do you need to be careful about the null checks also. They were focusing on that also. So I am sure you can write about the binary search, and after once you have completed the binary search code, they will ask you about the time complexity of your code, and also they will ask you about the example. So let's say if it's log n, then if there are 8 elements, then what would be the complexity, right? So this was the first question, and then he asked me about the second question. So in second question, what he asked me is, so there are several logs. So let's say there are several logs t1. So let's imagine something like tr1, tr2, tr3, and tr10. So there are several logs, and inside each log, timestamp and string is getting printed. So if I want to tell you something like this, t1 with name, let's say payment, t2 with name, let's say recon, t6 with, let's say, settlement, and t3 is in log tr10, this is in log tr3, this is in log tr2, and in tr3 there is something called as payment. right? So logs are getting printed separately for different purposes. So you can imagine something like this. This is the log for Windows, let's say, and this is the logs for iOS. This is the logs for, let's say, Android system, and this is the logs for some other system. So 10 logs are getting printed, and in each log, time stamp and the corresponding string for the operation is getting printed. So it would be logs would keep on increasing. Let's say T4 is also here, T5 is here, right? So what interviewer wanted me to write is, he wanted to combine this log and make one big file. All right, I hope the question is clear to you. There are several files basically, and he wanted me to make one big file which is sorted on the basis of timestamp. So if T1 is here, then it should be printed first in the log. Then if T2 is here, then it should be printed in the log. Then T3 should be printed. Then T4, then T5, then T6, right? So let's say the file is of size 10 GB and each log, let's say, is of 1 GB, and the memory that has been provided is only 500 MB. So what I'm saying is, the memory of your system is only 500 MB, but you need to produce a file of size 10 GB, right? So this was the problem. So merge several logs into one on the basis of timestamp, and you need to write complete code for this. And what interview wanted me to write is in Java language. So he provided me one util function which was giving me timestamp object. So by timestamp object, I need to say that time, and string means name. So timestamp and name would be provided by this timestamp object, and it would be able to read the file, and this is the file pointer. So this would allow me to read from a file. So let's say if I want to read from tr1, then this function would allow me to read from tr1, and I need to use this util function to make complete function, this one, merge files. So he wanted me to code for this merge files, right? And in the end, you need to tell the complexity after writing the code. So just to give you one hint in this, what you need to do is, if there are 10 files, then you need to have some funneling system, that you are taking first node from the each file. I mean to say that first object from 1, first object from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then take the element from the top. And so 1 from this, then read from 1. So something like heap. If you are aware about min heap, then create a min heap out of all the first elements from the logs, and from that min heap take out the first element and use that in the big file. So when you are working on a heap, then corresponding function in Java is priority queue. Corresponding data structure, sorry, is priority queue. So you can use priority queue to create complete big file, right? So, and you need to write the complete function for priority queue. You need to implement comparator also. So after writing the code, you need to tell the complexity. And if you have any other solution for this problem, you can mention it in the comment, right? So these were the two questions that engineering manager asked me in the first interview. Then there was second round with second engineering manager, and he was looking more experienced than the first one. So he asked me about the previous experience related questions initially. How would you solve or handle the scalability issues in database? So let's say if your relational database RDBMS is getting increased in size, then how will you be able to handle the inserts? How will you make sure about the reads? So something you need to tell about the sharding, archiving, proper indexing, right? Then he asked me about the RabbitMQ and Kafka because it was mentioned in my resume. And if you are mentioning it in your resume, then do understand the internal structures of this, because he was asking me about the internal functioning of Kafka. Then he asked me about the experience on sharding, right? Then he asked me three data structure related questions. So the first question that he asked me was, find the shortest distance between two given nodes in a binary tree. So this is BT, not binary search tree. So just to give you one example, if this is your binary tree, then you need to implement one function int shortest path, and in this function there will be three you can say arguments. First one would be the root, which is a in this case, and e and g. So if you see, the distance between e and g is 1 2 3 4. So this is 4. So if the nodes are h and b, then the distance would be 2. So you need to implement this shortest path algorithm. You can check the algorithm from Geeks for Geeks. In this algorithm, you need to find the lowest common ancestor first. So by lowest common ancestor, I mean to say that if the nodes are D and I, then the lowest common ancestor is B. And then you need to find the distance from B, which you can check from counting the level of both of these nodes. Otherwise, there is another way. It is counting from A and then using a formula to calculate the distance between the two nodes. But the better approach is first find the LCA, lowest common ancestor, then find the distance between the two nodes from this lowest common ancestor, right? So this was the first question. Then he asked me about the complexity for this problem. Then he moved on to the second question, which was a little tough. He asked me about the print the bottommost view of the binary tree. So let's say if you are standing somewhere here, then all the nodes of the tree that you will be able to see, you need to print those nodes. So let's say this is a binary tree and you are drawing line something like this. Then the nodes that would be visible to you would be D, right? This one would be visible, H would be visible, but B would not be visible, right? Because H is coming before B. Then E would be visible, then I would be visible, then G would be visible. So you need to print D, H, E, I, G, right? So this was the second question. Then the third question was related to matrix, and this question involved count the number of zeros in the matrix. So let me give you one brief about it. So in this row there are 2 zeros, in this row there are 3 zeros, in this row there are 2 zeros, and in this row there are 4 zeros. So your function should return 4. And so the exact problem is count the maximum number of zeros in row of a matrix. So if the zeros are maximum in the 4th row, then you need to return 4. And he wanted me to write complete working code, right? I hope the problem is clear to you. If it is not clear, then please mention it in the comment. So these were the 3 questions that engineering manager asked. Then there was final round with the general manager who had the respective businesses in PayTM Mall. So let's begin the round. So the first question that the person asked me was, let's say there is one string which is given to you, then you need to tell how many minimum deletions are needed to make it a palindrome. So let's say this is one string, right? So minimum number of deletions would be, let's say I'm deleting D, then this is a palindrome, right? Or you can delete C also, then this would also become a palindrome. So you need to do the minimum deletions to find the palindrome. So this is also, you will be able to find the solution for this problem also in Geeks for Geeks. What you need to do is you need to find all these subsequences, right? All the subsequences of this string, and then you need to find the subsequence. So let's say you are finding all the subsequences. When you are finding the subsequences, make sure you are already populating those subsequences which are palindrome, right? Then the maximum size of the palindrome, let's say one of the substring is a b c a b, and one of the substring or subsequence would be a b d a b, right? Then the number of elements are 5 here, 5 here, and there are 6 in this. So what you can do is you can subtract the length of bigger string, which is this, which are, let's say, original string, and the length of maximum substring, which is a palindrome. So 6 minus 5 is 1. So 1 is the answer for this problem. I hope the solution is clear to you. I have just provided you a hint, and if you haven't seen the solution for this, then you can visit Gigs for Geeks or any other site. Then he asked me about the my previous experience related questions. So I suggest you to know about these details also, because when we are working, then we are mostly working on the business logic and all, and we are not aware about the server configurations and other details which a person at the GM level expects you to know. So something like this: how many servers were there in your previous organization, and like how you were managing distribution, how the load balancer was working. So you need to know these details in it, right? Have you worked on distributed systems, right? What was the throughput of your server and the configuration, and what was the container you were using, why you choose that container. And the last question was related to hibernate lazy and early eager loading. Hibernate early and eager and lazy loading. So what is the difference between these two? Where you would use, which of the following would you use, right? So these were the questions related to hibernate. So this was all about the PayTM Mall interview experience. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and share my videos, and please don't forget to subscribe my channel. This would motivate me to make more videos like this. Thank you.